Sorry,
Technical
Sebastian, I've been
difficulties.
sick.
Why Stephen dies.
This is where I die, yes.
Finally, my
I'm about
plans.
to Aunt Josephine out my window.
Finally, my plans. They're all coming to a fruition. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud?
Yay! What's up, everyone? Welcome to Flip the Scripts, an adaptation podcast all about adaptations. I'm your host, Stephen Nieman,
And I'm the other host, Ankit and Madhira.
and this week we're hopping back into episode 2 of The Wide Window of Lemony Snicket's The Series of Unfortunate Events.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. All right. So, Ankit, fun question time. Let's go. Let's just hop right into it.
Am I not doing fun fact first? Are we doing fun question first?
Oh, sorry. We've never flipped that script. Sorry. Fun fact first.
I'm scared to flip that script.
You're
It's
very,
frightening.
we flip many scripts here, but we don't flip that script.
No. We have a system. Kind of. Not really. We go off the rails a lot.
If you watched the
Alright.
last episode, we talked about fried egg sandwiches for like 10 minutes.
It was a solid chunk of the conversation.
It was great.
Yeah.
This is what
So-
happens when two best friends have a podcast. They're just able
Yeah.
to talk.
Hey, at least like our tangents are like about food, or me usually complaining that you need to have a wider perspective on things and stop being annoyed.
But that's the whole point of the show.
I'm not saying don't be annoyed. I'm annoyed too. I'm just saying accept that things have to be different sometimes.
At some point, we're going to get to like an adaptation that's going to be perfect. And we're just going to have like one word to say. We're going to be like, yeah, it was good.
I look forward to the day that I have to get on an episode and it takes us 15 minutes to finish the episode because Steven doesn't complain for hours.
I don't think that'll ever happen, buddy.
It's never gonna happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you know, and if you haven't put this together, I usually have to be the one to rate him in most of the time. Occasionally
Okay.
he returns the favor. Occasionally I get really, really mad. But I have to rate him in a lot of the times.
Hey, Ender's Game, we both went off the rails.
Again, there are moments that we're both like, this was not worth the time that I sat down and did this.
The Shining was probably our worst, not our worst episodes, but the hardest episodes to do.
Hey, the worst thing that you made me watch was the Avatar movie.
On our Patreon right now. So subscribe to our Patreon and you can watch us watching the Avatar movie by M. Night Shyamalan. And also, now on our also on our Patreon should be us reacting to the Jim Carrey version of the series of Unfortunate Events.
Yes, it'll either be up when this episode goes live or very close to this episode going live, is our goal.
Depends
yeah.
on our schedule. Ankit's in a show that literally performs in 2 weeks, and I'm in a show
No,
that...
I go into tech tomorrow.
Oh, no, sorry. Ankit goes into tech tomorrow, and I'm directing a show that literally opens in 3 weeks.
And this is from when we're recording this, ladies and gentlemen, which is early October. So,
Yeah. October's a busy
anyway,
month for
fun
us.
facts.
Fun fact!
This episode, The Wide Window, Part 2.
Bam.
Directed, same director, Barry Sonnenfeld, and the writing credits based on the book series as Lemony Snicket by Daniel Handler, the teleplay by Daniel Handler, the story editor, Joe Tratz.
I wonder if they save money by hiring the actual writer of the book to do the TV show.
I know.
No, but like, you get what I mean? Because like, they're not having to pay him for royalties of him.
No, they probably still do.
You think they pay royalties for the book and then also pay him to write it?
They have to, because the royalties for the book don't go only to the author, it goes to the publishing companies.
I guess you're right.
So you still have to pay royalties to the book. You need approval from the author, but you still have to pay royalties.
I mean, they have approval. It'd be hilarious if Daniel Handler was like, no, I don't give approval for this book.
But I'm going to write it.
Yeah,
I
literally.
would laugh if like he's like, I will give you approval for books 1 through 7, not book 8, and 9 through 13.
What a dick move. I think there's a really funny thing about, I mean, I never want to touch the series with a 10-foot pole, but the Rings of Power, the Amazon version. So
I haven't seen it.
it's terrible. But they went to
Okay.
the Tolkien estate, right? To like they wanted to do the Silmarillion originally, so they wanted to adapt the Silmarillion, which is a series of books, the history of all of Tolkien lore, basically. And they went to the Tolkien estate, and the Tolkien estate said, "You can have this," and they gave them like a paragraph, and they were like, "But there's like novels," and they looked at Amazon and said, "We don't trust you."
It's fair.
And I think the trust was correct. They don't trust. They shouldn't have trusted them. I don't think they would have done a good job with Cimmerillion either. So, all right.
Anyway, it's rated a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb.
Ooh.
That's
Oh,
the
so
last little bit
worse
that I
than
had
the
there.
last episode? Because the last.
No, better. The last one was a 7.6.
Oh, so 1 point higher.
If I remember correctly.
7.5?
It was a 7.6.
Oh, no, we rated it 7.5.
We rated it 7.5.
That's right. So, yeah, 0.1 higher. Okay, so somebody liked this episode a bit better. Just one person. There was one vote. Somebody
One
went in
vote.
and went 5 stars, and that's literally what bumped it up 0.1 points.
Yep, that was it. Just that one human being.
I really don't know how the IMDb like rating scale works, like how people like go in there and like.
I think it's the average of all the critics.
No, I get that, but like, how do the critics like score it? Did they score it on a 1 through 10, and then they average all the tens?
I think they score it on a 1 through 10.
I guess that makes sense.
And then it averages that.
Different than
Anyway.
Rotten Tomatoes, where they give like a percentage, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so fun question time, because that was a really fun fact time. Ankit, if you were to create a secret code, how would you do it?
Well, the first thing I would do is not reveal the secrets on a podcast.
Okay, fine. Destroy the question with logic. Fine. Be that way, Ankit. Like, we're here to have fun, and Ankit wants to ruin my fun
What did
here
you expect?
with some logic.
Me to reveal my secrets?
No, I want you to come up with something ridiculous of being like, this is how I would do a secret code.
Oh, I
Being
can do that for you. Sorry. Re-ask the question. I've gone back in time. I put the ridiculous hat on. I
Okay.
apologize.
If you were going to create a secret code up from a ridiculous point, how would you do it?
Okay. So first thing that I would do is I would find a very specific brand of mac and cheese. Now, on the back of that mac and cheese, it's going to have the about section on the mac and cheese.
Yeah.
It is going to be a numerical system based specifically on words and letters used on that box. So you're going to get a number code, and the way that it's going to work is like in National Treasure, you're going to have 3 numbers. The first line is going to be which line on the box does it incorporate. The second number is going to be which word. And the third number is going to be which letter of that word to create then the code.
Cool. I like that. I think if I was ever going to do a secret code, I'd like a bookshelf of books. And if you pull the first book out, it kind of guides you to go to another book and another book, another book. And you have to go through all 30 books to find the code. And then the bookshelf opens.
What if you're in a rush?
Sucks to suck. You're trying to figure out my secret code.
What if you're in a rush?
Oh, no, I would know it. Like, if I made it, I would know my code. I don't need to know it.
Oh, okay.
I don't need to read it to know it. This is somebody else trying to figure it out.
Oh, are you talking about, like, the safe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I've processed. Yeah, like, but that's how you would have to then figure out the word that then goes to, like, whatever safe or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
For me, it's a very specific brand of mac and cheese.
Not Kraft, because Kraft.
No. It needs to be an obscure brand of mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. What a good dessert.
I don't know why mac and cheese is the first thing that popped into my head at 9:15 in the morning when you asked me this question.
It's because Thanksgiving's in a month, and we're going to have some good mac and cheese then.
Nah, I don't really celebrate Thanksgiving, but cool.
Hey, come on down for Thanksgiving.
I'll see what schedule has happening.
It'll be great. My parents, my sister makes good vegetarian stuff for Thanksgiving because I know you don't eat turkey.
Woo! Cool. All right. Should we jump into this episode?
We should jump into this episode. So,
Let's jump into an episode.
episode 2 of The Wide Window. Or now The Broken Window.
Well, it's a sad window.
Yeah, so Aunt Josephine's there's like a body image now into the window implanted in.
Of her statue, which I laughed at. I was like, I love that this is how it is, because if you ever have broken a window, the rest of the window would have also shattered.
It's window logic, Ankit. We can't break window logic.
Obviously.
So
It's
open
plot
up.
armor. We can't touch plot armor.
No, oh, you want to talk about plot armor? Watch some anime, sir. So we open up to Klaus reading the suicide note again, and he's like reading it, and he's like, "Oh, this is like a thing." And Klaus is like, "There's something weird about this note." And in the TV show, she signs it Josephine Anwhistle, but in the book, she signs it Aunt Josephine. There's this weird thing that I think happens in these 2 episodes where I feel like Josephine is constantly separating herself from the children, like she's not calling herself Aunt Josephine. And it does feel like she's like, I'm not really, it kind of has this feeling like she's not really their guardian, where I'm like, no, but that was like the whole point, is she is their guardian and she wants to be their Aunt Josephine. It just, I don't know, it bothered me from like a storytelling perspective of like, it just feels slightly askew in a wrong way. And I know that's very minor, but that's how I felt.
That's fair. I felt like she was just really incompetent, but I did still feel like in the TV show she did still seem to want to try and be there, but you don't get as much of the lovingness and the comfort that she's trying to show the kids.
Yeah.
You just don't get as much of that in episode 1.
Yes. So Klaus figuring out there's a code in the note is the same. He literally goes, "Oh, there's a grammatical error right here. I think there's a code." And it's like, "Oh, okay.
Good job, Klaus. Well done."
I will say the code that they eventually break is exactly the same from the book. Good job, Klaus.
Yay!
And good job, adaptators, for actually doing that, because the one from the movie, just kind of doing a little comparison really quick. We'll get there, Ankit. Is just capital letters in the wrong spots. Like, that's what, if I remember correctly, not misspellings.
Okay.
I mean, no wonder Handler was like, I need to do my own version of an adaptation because that Jim Carrey version can't be the only one.
And then Neil Patrick Harris was like, "Hey, you want to come do this?" And he was like, "Well, sure."
So Violet thinks it's a forgery, which is a path. Mr. Poe shows up and he's like, "You can't accuse someone of being a forger. That's a really bad crime to commit someone of." But Violet's like, "Yeah, but like also murder?" Like this is true about the book and the TV show. I just think it's so good. Yes, because Mr. Poe, a banker, cares more about forgery than murder. Which
Of course he does.
makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, completely. So Mr. Poe shows it's not a forgery. He's like, "Look, the handwriting's the same," and yeah. And so the kids are like, "Oh no, our aunt's actually dead." And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna go take you to Captain Sham now." There was one thing that I missed that was said in the novel that wasn't said in the TV show. Was like the kids are like, "Wait, Captain Sham, like, why are we gonna go live with him?" He's like, "Oh, because we can't break wills and testaments of people. Josephine was your guardian. She wrote a new will. We have to follow this will now."
Yeah, apparently the will of the parents don't matter anymore.
That was one thing that I wish was said in the novel as well as the TV show, or somebody added that in somewhere. We've been like, but Mr. Poe, what about our parents' original will where we're supposed to live with a relative that's closest to us?
Yeah.
So, okay, so they're driving to go have lunch with brunch. I'm sorry, not lunch, brunch with Captain Shem. Because he's like, we gotta go be Captain Shem so you guys can get adopted. So they're gonna have brunch. And Sonny in the backseat goes, "You missed your turn," and I thought this was hilarious.
Sunny,
Um,
all knowing.
and then of course we cut back to narration where the lovely Patrick Warburton does actually confirm that they did indeed miss their turn.
Woot woot.
And then he fixed it, and they're driving. They end up at the Anxious Clown. Larry is the waiter. Now, there is like this weird clown bit in the book that we don't know why the clown is weird, but I guess now it's explained in the TV show. I hope it's the same in eventually, but I like the change. I'm okay with this change.
I like this change. And this is where we were saying that the confusingness of that scene from last episode.
Yes.
I feel like if they plucked that scene, dropped it in here, it would have made more sense.
I also thought it was really funny, Larry's reaction to hearing that Aunt Josephine is dead.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Actor, well done.
Yeah. So Larry walks back into the kitchen after everyone orders sadness burgers or something like that.
No, it was
Happy
happiness
burgers? What?
Happy burgers.
Happy burgers. Right, because they're sad, they need happy burgers. That's right. So Larry goes back and he's like, he stood up to the Olaf henchmen and they're like, make us food.
And he's like, no.
I thought it was funny. Then Larry also keeps messing up and saying Violet, Klaus, and Sonny's names, which I also think is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like the Baudelaires are like, how do you know us? Like, who are you?
And he's just like, bye.
Yeah. I also thought this is my other issue. So obviously Violet threw out the peppermints in the first episode. Now this idea is coming back. Larry is telling them to have an allergic reaction, and he's now going to bring them peppermints to have the reaction.
I liked that it was the genius of the kids.
See, this is the thing that we've talked about before, where it's like when the kids have genius ideas, keep it in the TV show because the kids are geniuses. That's the point.
Yeah. It's more intriguing if it's the genius of the kid.
Not an adult trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
But, yes, I digress. So they all take the peppermints to try to get away from Olaf so they can crack the code and figure things out and get away from Sham and Poe. And they all take a peppermint and eat it. And then in the book version, Klaus's tongue swells up like the size of a balloon, and Violet has a bunch of red patches, and Sonny gets both.
Yep.
Which I think is hilarious. But in the TV show, they decided to give all three the same symptoms.
No,
Klaus had red pouches. Like he had.
Klaus didn't have red patches. He only had. No, he didn't.
He did in the TV show, yes.
I didn't catch them. I didn't.
They were literally there.
I didn't see them.
Oh well, Klaus actually also got both, and the tongue thing was only Klaus, but Klaus got both. They didn't show that Sonny had the tongue thing, but I just assumed. It's harder with Sonny because of dialogue. I get it. Also, because Sonny has captions anyway. Because, no one understands what Sonny says, and it's a good way to inform the audience of what she's saying.
What are you talking about? I know exactly what Sonny is saying. Do I know what an
Delmo
actual 1-year-old
means.
is saying? No! Do I know what Sonny is saying? 100% of the time.
Always. So, they leave the restaurant after, the allergic reaction. And Klaus is like, we need to hurry up and get to Aunt Josephine's before things happen. Obviously, Klaus can't be understood because his tongue is swollen. But then Violet I think it's a really hysterical thing where Klaus can't be understood, and then Violet repeats the line back to Klaus in English, in perfect English, and so we understand what Klaus said.
Yeah. It's a good use of the trope.
Sorry,
Technical
Sebastian, I've been
difficulties
sick.
Why Stephen dies.
This is where I die, yes.
Finally,
I'm about to Aunt Josephine out my window.
Finally, my plans, they're all coming to a fruition. I'm sorry.
Yay!
Did I say that out loud?
So, yeah, it's cool. So they leave the restaurant to get in the cab to Josephine. Then Ishmael shows up to drive them to back to Josephine, the cab driver. I guess his name is Ishmael,
Yeah.
or because he says "Call me Ishmael." I know it's from Moby Dick, but I guess that is actually also his name. At
Wait,
least
is
I
that
hope
from
so.
Moby Dick?
What?
That's Moby Dick.
Yeah, "Call me Ishmael" is from the first chapter of Moby Dick.
I read it once years ago.
I would say let's do it for this adaptation podcast, but like
I mean, or
I'd
I'll
like
just
to stay away
read
from
Moby
Moby Dick
Dick.
for a little bit.
Or I'll just read Moby Dick.
No, I just mean like it is one of those. What was it? Great American novels. Like you went through that whole list, right?
Oh, I think Moby Dick's on that list.
What did we do that led us to that list? What? I
Great
forget what
Gatsby.
was it. Yeah. Because like Great Gatsby, Moby Dick, Huckleberry Finn. I remember from that list.
Yep.
I remember I wasn't getting Huck Finn until we went down the route of Tom Sawyer.
Oh, I had to help you a lot to get to Huck Finn.
You did. I appreciate it. I just didn't remember Huck Finn. Who remembers Huck Finn when you have Tom Sawyer right next door?
Huck Finn.
Yeah. And his friend Jim.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, Ishmael drove them up back to the house, and they're all dealing with that. Cut to Larry being told how to make puttanesca sauce by
It's fantastic.
by all of the people, all the Olaf henchmen. One thing I will say is weird is like, okay, I get that the Olaf henchmen are all there and they're all needed in this moment. Again, Ankit and I talked about this in Reptile Room. There's only one Olaf henchman in Reptile Room, the book, and it's the Hook Hand guy. Where this is supposed to be the androgynous guy's book, so
Mhm.
they were constantly. I think what Handler was doing in the novel version was he kept kind of taking out one of Olaf's henchmen and then getting us to know one of them better in a new way, and it was really fun and unique. And you just didn't know which one was going to show up in the novel, and I think it leads to mystery. Now they're always with him in every plot that he does, so you're always going to have the twins, the androgynous guy, the bald guy, and the hook hand guy.
Yeah.
In every episode. So I think it works. I'm just worried that by 13 books, it might get played out, and maybe Handler was but maybe they need to be in every episode because they're trying to pay them all. I don't know. I think it's kind of it's a fine balance, like as an adaptation.
But also, like, at least, like, what happens later, it's still only one of them.
I agree with you for the most part.
Right.
I just think it is a fine balance of
It is a fine balance, and I don't know what that fine balance is, but I think
I-
like how
yeah.
they've had them be in this episode, I think it works.
No, it does. And I'm not complaining that they're in the episode. I'm just saying, like, we talked about how we really loved the fact that the hook hand guy was the doctor in Reptile Room as a
Yeah.
character. And we were really looking forward, because we loved the hook hand guy, we were really looking forward to see him as the doctor. And then we were disappointed he wasn't the
When
doctor.
he wasn't the doctor, yeah.
And then it was the androgynous. And then, like, it just felt like, oh, so it doesn't matter what they do in the novel from that character perspective. Because
it's just going to be all
one
of
of the
them.
henchmen, because
One of
they're all
them.
there.
Yeah.
So that's my kind of 2 cents on it, if that makes sense.
Fair enough.
And it's a question, right? It is a question of like whether that is helping telling the story or hurting telling the story.
Mm-hmm.
Fair. So Larry gets a call from someone who is alive in Peru, and I went, it's probably the parents. I was right. And it's the parents on a plane, it looks like, or getting on a plane.
I think
somewhere.
so.
Then we cut back to Klaus figuring out the secret code while Sunny and Violet go take a bath with Epsom salt, baking soda.
Baking soda.
Which, okay, where did they get the baking soda from?
Josephine probably had it.
Why? She doesn't turn on her oven.
I don't know. Maybe she had it from back when she used to.
Okay, maybe that's just the ironic thing in my head. But
I
I
didn't
don't
think
think.
that hard about the baking soda. I should have. I'm sorry. I know I'm a
No, my
disappointment.
brain just clicked it. I don't know
My
why.
brain didn't. My brain
I,
didn't
w-
click baking
I was
soda.
sitting there watching it go, wait a minute, Josephine never cooks. Why do they have baking soda? Like, hey, back in the day, I used to put baking soda on my toothbrush sometimes when I brush my teeth because
hmm
it helps whiten. Or, you put it in the fridge and it keeps your fridge clean.
Yep.
So we could have really used that at New Cross. Um,
Oh, we tried. It didn't work.
no, that fridge was the worst. But the secret code is Curdled Cave. And it's like, well, where's Curdled Cave?
Lake
Oh, let me just pull
Lacrimose.
down the map that's on the side of the room, and now we have it. Yay!
Woohoo!
So the thing about the book here compared to the TV show was the map's right here, but in the book there's no book of the map, and that they need to find a map because they don't know where Curdle Cave is, and they're looking for an atlas, and they find one under Josephine's bed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a whole thing in the middle of Hurricane Herman, and this adds to this adds to the desperate of the children because they're trying to find it and they're trying all this stuff, and then the hurricane hits the house and the house starts to fall down and they're trying to escape. um Instead they just play the whole thing in the wide window.
Which, fine.
Fine. I'm not too mad about it. I just think, like, also, like, it was one of those things where, to me, the atlas was important because Klaus takes it with them later to use to get to Curdle Cave, because you can tell me Klaus just looked at the map and went, okay, cool, there's Curdle Cave, I know how to get there.
Yeah, Class is a genius.
They're geniuses, but going through a lake in a hurricane,
I see zero problems. Why are you complaining?
because the atlas made more sense.
I'm not saying that it didn't, dude. This is sarcasm.
I just don't understand the change. I felt like it was that easy to be like, oh, let's go find an atlas book. Let's check under her bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I love the narration of, like, whenever you're trying to hide something, from this writer, whenever you're trying to hide something, uh, look under your bed.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
okay.
I don't have space under my bed.
Do you not?
No, my mattress is on the floor.
Oh, that's fair. I'm about to switch rooms, so, like, I have, like, my smaller room now, and I'm about to go downstairs and switch rooms, but I still have, like, a higher bed.
Fair.
So I want a new bed frame, kind of like the one I had in White Hills, the one with the little bookshelf on the side. You
Oh
remember that
yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah.
It was a really nice bed frame. I really liked it.
You
Other
broke
than the
it.
fact
You
that
broke
it
the
broke,
bed.
other than the fact it broke on me, like, in the middle of, like, a night one night.
It broke on you multiple times.
Not that one. That was the new piece one.
Oh, that's the new piece one, not the. Oh, right, not the other one. Yeah, okay.
Remember, like, you literally sat on it when you put it together, and it just went. Pff,
Oh yeah, I broke it,
and we both looked at each other and went,
and then we continued to play Lego Harry Potter.
"Hey,
Just
we
didn't
finished it that
care.
summer. We did finish it." I just
Um,
want to say, uh, Lego Harry Potter. It was a great game. I love it. It's amazing. We 100%ed part 2, like, completely. Like, we got the actual 100%. There was a glitch in our playthrough of part 1 that we got 99.99%, and we are never able to finish the game because we're missing a boy and barrel that got glitched into a wall,
who we can see, by the way, like we can actively see him.
and we can't even rescue him, and he just waves at us, and I went, this is the biggest taunt in my life.
I laugh profusely, and Steven cries in his
I
sleep.
literally hate that. And also, I looked at Ankit and said, we're 100%, we're moving on.
And I'm the asshole that goes, Steven, we're 99.9.
So, right here, so the house starts to fall apart because Hurricane Herman is
Yeah,
making the house fall apart. And all of a sudden, Klaus does a backflip, and I was like, wow.
Oh yeah, Klaus became super athletic, and I was like, I'm here for this. Let's go.
I thought it was
Buff
very
up.
entertaining. I really love this moment, actually. But all of a sudden, the safe randomly breaks open. That was locked and closed earlier, mind you.
No,
Um,
they didn't lock it.
oh, okay, okay, so it's the kid's fault that it
It's the
flies
kids.
open.
The kids didn't lock it because Josephine came back so quickly. They just shoved everything in there and like
That's true.
closed it.
So the
But I don't know if they
crackers almost
locked it.
hit Klaus in the face. You know those safe crackers.
Hmm.
Um, and but the book, the secret code book, flies past Klaus, and Klaus tries to catch it, and a picture of his parents and everyone else that's important in this story. He catches it,
It
and
falls out.
his
Yeah.
and they're by Lucky Mill. That's what the picture is of all these people.
Hmm.
And I went, "Oh, this is new. Okay, cool. I guess."
Let's see what happens.
All right. So again, something that's not in the book. Um, and then Klaus ends up almost saving himself, and then a lime fell off the kitchen counter, and they had to basically run and escape, and it caused the whole house to fall. So one lime destroyed Josephine's house.
She didn't pick the right limes.
You got to be careful with your citrus.
Yeah.
And on that
Some.
note, we're gonna take a snack break.
Hello, everyone. I hope you are enjoying this episode of Flip the Scripts. Just a couple of quick things about the podcast and some quick life updates, and then we will get back into the show. First off, I want to just say thank you to everyone who has been patient. We know the end of 2024 and the start of 2025, we took a big break. We had a lot of things happening. Sebastian had to take a step away. Nothing against him. He's a wonderful, wonderful human being that we would love to have back. School got very busy for Sebastian, and so he wanted to focus on that. So we wish him the best of luck on all of his endeavors, and hopefully we get to invite him back to work with him in the future. But until then, Sebastian, best of luck with school, and we hope everything goes well in your future endeavors. Now, thank you all so much for just being supportive and listening to the show. It really does mean a lot. If you want to gain access to bonus content, we are going to be doing a better job of uploading onto Patreon, and you can get access to bonus content such as the notes that Steven takes, or sometimes the notes that I take if I'm taking notes for this show, or my notes for post finale, different things like that. You can get access to bonus content, bonus videos of Steven making me sit down and watch movies that I don't necessarily want to, like the live action Avatar. Things like that are up on our Patreon. If you want more content from us, it is available over there. Head over to patreon.com/coopforge. So that's patreon.com/co_opforge and sign up for whichever one of the tiers, and you get a special shout out on the shows as well. If you want to support the show in a non-monetary way, that is great. Thank you, first of all, just for listening to this episode. It really does help us out. Be sure, leave a like, hit follow, subscribe wherever you're listening to the shows. Leave a comment. You can now also leave comments on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify. So be sure, check that out, and it really does mean a lot to us and helps us out. Talk about us on social media at coopforge, co_op. Yeah, talk about us on social media, co_opforge on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And you can also follow this show specifically at Flip the Scripts Pod on Instagram, or just head over to the Co-op Forge Instagram and you'll be able to find it pretty easily because I tag any of the Flip the Scripts posts from that Co-op Forge Instagram gets a tag for Flip the Scripts. So that's another way that you can find that. So be sure to do that. And last but not least, just tell a friend about the show. It really does help us out more than you know. Word of mouth is the best way to grow the show. Maybe there's someone out there that loves reading or loves movies or just likes analysis and wants to hear two friends talk about some books that they grew up loving. Go check it out. It really does help us out a lot. So be sure, tell a friend, tell a family member about the show. It means the world to us. And thank you so much. Last couple of housekeeping things, and then we will get back to the episode. Just real quick, I have some gigs coming up. So, first off, I have a new song that is coming out in exactly 1 week from today. If you are listening to this on the day that it comes out, I have a new song called Sweet New Memories coming out on February 14th, and that is going to be available on all streaming platforms on February 14th. So be sure, go check that out. We'll leave a link in the description for you to pre-save for listening on any of the various apps that we listen to music on. And secondly, real quick, is I actually got an acting gig coming up. So in March in Seattle, if you are in the Seattle area, March 21st through April 5th, I am going to be playing Oliver in a production of Oliver with Reboot Theater. We will be performing at Theater Off Jackson here in Seattle, and we are going to have shows. We open on March 21st and we close on April 5th. So a nice 3 weekends of shows. Be sure come check it out. If you do come check it out, shoot me a message on social media or send me an email if you're coming to the show. Just let me know that you're coming. I would love to meet up with you all afterwards. But that is everything from us over here. We hope you were enjoying this episode. So let's get back into
We're
it.
back to the weather report from the first episode, and I really enjoyed it in the first episode.
It
This
didn't make
second
a whole lot of
episode, I'm
sense
like,
in the second episode.
what?
It didn't make a whole lot of sense in
No,
this.
it just kind of came out of nowhere.
I was just like, oh,
It
okay.
worked in the first episode. It doesn't work in the second episode.
Yeah. They needed the actors to have more than one day of work so that they could get benefits.
I guess. So they're like, yeah, the hurricane's hitting the Lake Lacrimose, Hurricane Herman. So all the stuff that we know because the house fell down. So the kids now walk to town from Josephine's destroyed house,
Right.
which is true. In the book, they only have one jacket because Violet and Sunny left their jackets in the house that fell down, and Klaus has his one jacket, and they're like sharing it.
Mhm.
And but they all don't have jackets in this version because they're unfortunate events. They can't
They're
have
unfortunate children.
nice
They can't have
things.
jackets.
So they make it all the way to, and I love it. They make it all the way to Damocles Dock to find out the Fickle Ferry is closed.
I do enjoy that they get all the way there, because how many times has that happened to somebody where they're like, all right, we can go. Let's do this. Oh.
You mean Debden Station?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. All right, so I bought tickets for Spider-Man, right? The Tom Holland third film.
Oh, I thought you meant Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, because that's a line in my show right now
Oh
that I'm
no.
doing. And so when you said Spider-Man, my brain went to Turn Off the Dark.
That's a terrible way to no, get your brain out of the gutter.
But that's my line in the show.
Okay, it's a
I go on a
terrible
whole rant.
musical.
Yeah, no, that's what I point out. Is like, yo, the show flopped.
It did. Also, someone died.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that was the whole reason it flopped.
Who?
One of the stagehands died in Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons it flopped.
Keep talking.
I'm sure. I'm
I'm
it was
looking
that
this
show.
up.
So, yeah, Bono was like responsible. Then, so we end up at the Fickle Ferry. It's closed. So they're like, okay, we need to take a boat and sail it to Curdle Cave. So there's boats. And it's really, really easy because they just hop on a sailboat and go.
Yeah.
In the book, it's not that easy because all the sailboats are locked up because they belong to people.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically Olaf, because Olaf runs a sailboat company. Because in the book, they're supposed to be the androgynous woman is asleep in the little cabin, and Sunny kind of breaks in, steals the key, and they run away. And I love this because it's Sunny having action, and I think each kid does something in this book that just leads to like the success, and that's one of Sunny's things that they cut.
Yeah.
And there is someone in the cabin that sees them steal a sailboat. It's the Hookhand guy. But, like, I don't know. It just felt more action-packed, and I feel like it just cut action for no.
It did. It did.
Which is fine, I guess. Then, they made it through. So they get on the boat, and instantly, Violet's like, oh, it's super easy to do a sailboat. Let's do this and this and this. And like they're like fine. Like they're like experts at it.
Oh,
I liked it
of
in the
course
book
they
how they learned how to do it as they went.
Yeah, it made it a bit more realistic that you were, sailing through a hurricane.
I also love the fact that both the book and the TV show have the warning of like not to do this.
you know, in today's day and age, I feel like it's an important warning.
Yes.
See, like that's my favorite thing is like when we were kids, we didn't have to be told, "Don't take a stick of dynamite and stick it in the side of a wall."
Yeah.
Don't do what Wile E. Coyote is doing.
Don't do what the guy from Atlantis does. Mole? Is it Mole? The dynamite expert?
Yeah, don't do what Mole does.
Oh no, it's not Mole. Mole's the one who digs.
It's the girl. It's the girl.
No, it's not the girl. It's the one guy. You know, he's like he has like the
Oh, the
toothpick in
long
his mouth.
mustache. The mustache
Yeah,
man.
the mustache guy. He has like the toothpick in his mouth, and he's like, I'm gonna need a lot more dynamite to blow up that thing.
Yeah, I like him. He's a good guy.
Yeah, that movie is so underrated. Definitely during the Disney Dark Ages, but super underrated movie.
Same with Treasure Island.
Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet. Sorry. My bad. Treasure Island is Peter Pan.
No, Treasure Island is the same as Treasure Planet, just not.
I'm confused. My brain's dead. Moving on.
Treasure
Back to
Island
myths.
is Jim Hawkins and all that stuff.
Yes.
Peter Pan is just Peter Pan.
What's the treasure thing in Peter Pan then?
Neverland?
That's what it is.
We need to watch Hook, sir. Have you seen Hook
No.
with Robin Williams?
No.
Oh my gosh, sir.
Why are you surprised?
Do it for post finale, please, because it's so good.
Is it like Halloween or like? Is it
No,
just like
well,
a
it's not
movie?
Halloweeny. Basically, imagine if Peter Pan had grown up and he became Robin Williams.
I'm intrigued. All right, back to this though.
Okay, so they make it through the hurricane on a sailboat magically, and they all survive through
Yay!
nothing that seems a problem because the kids are like just good at sailboating apparently, and they've never sailboated in their life. She's just read a book about it. Okay.
hmm
Also, I love the fact that in the book, Sunny controls the back thing, but Violet's like, I got it, and Klaus, you do the sail, and
called a
Sunny just
rudder.
sit there.
It's called a rudder.
A rudder. Thank you, sir. It's a rudder.
Yeah, I've been sailing a few times.
I've never been sailing.
Fair. If I'm ever on a lake, I'm usually in a boat.
I mean, I'm in a boat, but like, I'm in an electric boat.
Oh, I'm in like canoes.
Oh, cool. So we make it to a purple lighthouse, which I'm like, ooh, purple light, nice. Violet? Was it violet? It was purple. No matter.
You're
It was a
asking
lighthouse
the
with a
one
purple
who
color.
gets colors mixed up.
I'm asking the colorblind guy what color it was. Again.
This isn't the first time you've done this, Stephen.
No. Get the blue coin. Blue. There's 3. Which one is blue?
What was that in context of again?
Lego Harry Potter.
Oh, right.
All the studs were different colors depending on the money, and I was like, get the blue one.
Well, no, you were like, get the blue one. And I think there were like 2 purple and a blue. And I was like, which one's the blue?
Exactly. And the purples are worth a lot more.
Yeah.
So, uh, they make it to Colonel Cave, and which is great. I mean, cool. And the hurricane stops, and
They make it there in the book, too.
they hear the growl of the cave, and Faust is like, "Oh, the cave just does that. It's if a wind blows through a little crevice, the cave can make a noise." But then they hear it again, and Klaus is like, "I don't want to go in there." And Sunny's like, "Man up, Klaus." I thought that was funny. That Sunny told her brother to man up.
Okay. Yeah.
You
Man
don't
up.
think that's funny?
Sunny telling her to man up?
No, Sunny telling Klaus to man up.
Oh. Yeah.
Sunny the baby telling her brother to man up.
Yeah, for some reason in my brain, she was telling Aunt Josephine to man up. So but like, yeah. I
You
just
haven't got
remembered it
there
wrong.
yet.
I
So it turns
remembered it
out-
wrong.
It turns out all the screaming in there is all the screaming in there is Josephine.
Yay, she's alive. Woohoo!
So then Josephine tells them how and why she faked her death, because Count Olaf threatened her, basically, and she's like, I'm gonna fake my death. Can I just point out, instead of a phone call, it happens at a restaurant in public,
Yeah.
and no one hears it. I guess it is
I've
the off season.
I've learned to not question things, Stephen.
Okay. Also, I will say during that whole story, all I could think of when Olaf walked through the door after she killed herself was, "Here's Shammy." I thought you'd laugh.
All right, I'll give you that one.
Okay, so one of the things that I was watching this yesterday, and I was watching it when we were watching it. I didn't watch it yesterday. I watched it a while ago. She jumped out the window. She literally jumped out the window, and I was like, why did she break it with the statue and then jump out after it? Why didn't she just like run at it and break it with her? Like, I was so like, what? Like, also, number one, Josephine's window in the book, you couldn't walk through it, let alone jump out of it without dying, because you would just land in the lake and get crushed by rocks.
That's how it is in the book as well. She and the way
That's what I said about the book.
No, not the book. In the TV show, it's the same way. But here's the other thing that pissed me off about this.
Oh, I was about to get there.
She just barrel rolls herself out of this cliff, out of this window, and then suddenly she's hiking down rock climbing down a cliff. Based on how you threw yourself out the window, you ain't catching rocks, sweetie.
Yeah, because she would have had to do this, underneath the window, like this.
Yeah.
And so
for anyone that's listening on audio only, it's like a
boomerang
C shape. She needs to do a C. She needs to
do a boomerang.
A C jump, like a boomerang, to be able to get to the wall and the rocks.
I mean, and I don't know if you've ever played Mario, but that stuff's hard.
Right. And he's a little Italian plumber that's on the television screen.
Exactly. She's a older lady
who's scared of everything.
So she jumps out the window and magically grabs onto the side of the mountain and climbs down. Here's my other issue. She has a wave runner.
Yeah.
So magically, Josephine has a wave runner and just gets on it and drives to Curdle Cave. By the way, the wave runner is not in Curdle Cave after we watched the flashback. Where did it go?
It got swept away during the hurricane.
Oh, okay. But also, what? Also, excuse me, where are we? What are we? Where, what time period is this?
I have so many questions. I've given up.
The Fickle Fairy is like a steam fairy, and then we have an actual motorized wave runner. When were wave runners created? 1980s?
I don't know. I'll look it up while you keep ranting.
It's just this whole moment was just so stupid, and you didn't need to explain it. Josephine just got to Curdle Cave. How did she do it? She faked her death, hid in a corner. Olaf walked in, didn't see her. She then waits for Olaf to leave, and then walks away from her house, and then goes to Curdle Cave. It could have been that simple, but no, you had to complicate it with her jumping out the window, and then all of a sudden magically climbing down, and then getting on a pink wave runner, which, by the way, was cool, but also didn't make sense in the novel or the TV show.
They were introduced in 1986.
Okay, so are we in 1986?
I don't know!
The cars look too old to be in 1986.
I'm so confused.
Me too. Also, she's afraid of freaking everything. Why would she own a wave runner?
I don't know.
My thought is she just kind of fickle fairied over there. I love leaving it to the imagination sometimes, okay?
I would have preferred if they just had it be her jump out the window. And then we just cut back to her being like, and now I'm here. It's like, what?
That would have been funny. I would have taken that. I literally would have taken that over let me jump out the window, magically end up on the other side of the mountain, climb down, hop on a wave runner, and end up at Curdle Cave.
Yep. Cool. So we're at Curdle Cave. The kids are trying to convince her to leave.
Yeah. So we're at Curdle Cave. The kids are trying to convince her to leave. Klaus shows her the picture that was saved. And she's like, oh, That's the lucky mill. Yeah. Also, Klaus, she's like, I don't want to leave. I'm not going to leave. Olaf's going to kill me, right? Yes, Olaf will kill her. That's what she says. But Klaus is like, well, you know this cave is for sale, right? There's real estate agents who come here. And she was like, we're leaving now.
Which is the same as in the book, and it's perfect.
It's perfect. It was really well done. The actor, Klaus, did a really good job. The actor who played
Mhm.
Klaus does a really good job. So they end up on a on the boat again, the sailboat, and they're sailing to back to the place. And Josephine's about to share the parents' secrets about the mill, um, but then all of a sudden we enter the territory of the lachrymose leeches, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Then she reveals, and Josephine reveals, I've just eaten the banana, and they're like, oh no. So the lachrymose leeches try to start attacking them.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just point out they don't look like leeches?
No, they don't.
They're like greeny with like teeth and everything. Um, the leeches are black and like slimy and like I
They
don't
don't look
know.
like leeches, but also they're like a different breed of leech, so like fine. I thought I'll cut them some slack.
Yeah, they look good. They didn't look bad CGI.
No, no, no. The CGI is actually fairly on point here.
Yeah. So in the book, though, what I will say is the lachrymose leeches attack many times before they start ramming the boat and trying to break through.
They just rammed
Um,
the boat.
but in the TV show, they're just like instantly ramming the boat because they know the boat's there.
Which honestly, fair enough. Like, gotta move this along a bit.
Also, something to know about lachrymose leeches: they are blind.
Uh huh.
They run by their nose. Um, Now Violet's like, we need to get help. We need to do a flare. We need to do like a fire alarm. That's her idea. She's trying to come up with something to save them. Um, so they wrap fabric that's dry, which is Aunt Josephine's scarf, and they want to light it on fire. So they use moonlight in the book to light it on fire. But in this version, the parents are flying a plane overhead, and because the parents had their own magnifying glass, sorry, their own binoculars. They were able to bounce the moonlight from their binoculars into Klaus's binoculars onto the paper onto the scarf to then light that on fire.
Or as I like to call it, needlessly complicated.
Also, it wasn't moonlight; it was the lighthouse light. That's right. So, uh, okay, yes, you've hit the nail on the head. They needlessly wanted to add the parents to that moment for like no reason at all.
Just needlessly complicated.
Then the parents look down and they're like, we should go rescue them. Instead of like, you know, going down, they're like, oh, we just ran out of gas because, that happens in planes.
And
And they start,
also, hey, look, a fairy. They'll be fine.
yes, but they start going down. But who's on the ferry? But Cal Olaf as Captain Sham.
Yay, the captain's back. Look at me. I am
Captain's
the captain
back.
now.
They're not on the ferry in the book. They're just on another sailboat because Captain Sham doesn't own the Fickle Ferry, but I thought it was hilarious that all of his people had Fickle Ferry sweaters. And they
Yeah.
were all like, they basically like owned the Fickle Ferry, it felt like at that point.
They
I went,
commandeered it.
okay,
They
Olaf
commandeered it.
logic, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They commandeered it.
So Olaf is like trying to like fight against Josephine. He's like, you're gonna let me have the kids, and Josephine's like, yeah, I'm gonna let you have the kids. That's what happens in the book. Uh, Josephine basically almost betrays the orphans to Olaf, and it's a really sad moment of like her fear getting in the way of her being a good guardian. But in this version, she stands up to Olaf, which is new.
I liked it a little better.
Yeah, but she doesn't stand up to Olaf, and this is the other issue. She doesn't stand up to Olaf because Olaf is going to take the kids and do his evil stuff. No, she stands to Olaf for grammar,
Yeah.
which is Josephine, deep down rooted. But also, I don't know. I was like,
I liked her standing up. It would have been nice if she stood up because of the kids.
I agree.
But
I think it's the
anyway,
point. I think it
I,
does the same thing in both, but I think
yeah,
it's like it was a decision. They made a decision.
they made a decision. Agree or disagree with it. At least it was a strong decision.
Yeah. So he then I realized there was a white piece of paper that kept bouncing the sunlight into my
Oh,
face.
you're good.
He then throws her overboard
No,
after she
no,
fixed his
no,
grammatical
no.
error.
Throw is such an ugly word.
Okay, pushes her.
He pokes her.
Okay, he pokes her overboard. So she falls and goodbye, Aunt Josephine.
Yeah, honestly, good riddance. You were a terrible guardian.
The also thing is was weird like so in the book she has life jackets on. So she floats and like then we assume maybe she'll live, but we know she's gonna get eaten and dies and they're only gonna find life jackets. But she has no life jacket here, so she probably just goes under and is eaten.
Yeah.
So they end up back with Mr. Poe, and Mr. Poe is there, and he's like, "Hi," and you're like, and Sham's like, "I saved them. I should adopt them now." And they're like, "Okay." Um, and they also now see the mill in the background, which is like, oh, Hookman saying cold water is great because they're like, oh, we all should warm up, but Hookman's like, yeah, I love the cold water here at Lake Lacrimose. I don't know. I thought it was funny. I forgot exactly what he said, but I thought it was
That's
hilarious.
fair. That's fair. Sometimes you just got those one-liners and you're like, haha.
Yeah. So, they're about to win. Olaf's about to win, and then Sunny escapes down and cuts through Olaf's peg leg like like a chainsaw. She's just like all the way around his peg leg, and it breaks, and out pops his real leg with his tattoo. And Poe's like, "You're Olaf. You're not gonna win this time." And then the kids run away
Yeah, that was new.
to the lumber mill. Obviously, that probably is in the next book. Maybe I don't know. I haven't started
I'm
reading the next book
assuming.
yet,
I'm assuming that's what the mill is.
but I assume they just go to the mill, just like always. Poe drops them off there, because maybe that's where their next
But
guardian is.
maybe they run away at the start of the next book. I don't know. I haven't started the next book yet.
I'd be okay with that, but also like maybe just have that in the next book, like have us in a moment of suspension.
Maybe. I think if they do run away at the start of the next book, it's okay to have it at the end of this one for the
Sure,
TV show. I don't know.
we'll
It
we'll
depends.
hold
Well,
judgment until we get to the miserable mill next week.
yes, because I just haven't read The Miserable Mill yet, and I don't want to pass judgment on a moment that might work in the grand scheme of things,
Yeah.
but just wasn't in this
So
book.
they all run away, leaving Poe alone. Even Olaf and his henchmen run away.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they're running away, and they're like, "Did we make the right choice?" And that's the end of episode 6, Wide Window Part 2 of Lemony Snicket's A Series of Orchard Events.
Woohoo!
All right, shall we rate the book, sir?
Yeah. I would rate the book probably like an 8.
I want to give it an 8.5. I enjoyed this book, not as much as The Reptile Room, but I really did enjoy this book.
I enjoyed this book. I think what I didn't enjoy about the book as much was that, and maybe it was because I usually audiobook things, just
Okay.
yeah. And with that, I feel like a lot of the jokes in this book might have landed a bit better for me if I was reading it, because a lot of it is so grammatically based.
Yes.
And so seeing it would have also, because like the person who read the audiobook, and I don't remember who it is off the top of my head, but like they did a really good job and I still understood every single joke, but like some of them just landed flat to me.
Yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I think that the book is really well done. I also think it's really funny. There's a whole bit in the book that I love that I wish was in the TV show where Olaf escapes by disguising himself as a rabbi.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some stuff that in the book that I just found hysterical.
Fair.
All right, Ankit, what would you rate the episode as a TV show, not as an adaptation?
Probably like an 8.
Yeah,
No, Yeah,
7.7.
7.528, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
7.75.
Great. What would you rate it as an adaptation?
Just this half, probably like a 7.
I was gonna be 6.9. That Wave Runner really knocked it down for me. I don't know
I
why.
was about to say 7.5, and then I remembered the whole that scene happens in this episode, and I was like, yeah, no, that deserves to drop it another half a point.
Like literally, that was the worst decision they could have ever made with the episode.
Yep, that doesn't make sense. I'm excited to see what happens in a mill.
So yeah, we're about to go to the Miserable Mill, which is the end of season 1. So we have 2 more episodes of a series of fortunate events before we hop into. We're not going to hop into season 2 right away. We're going to take a break. We're going to do 3 one-shots, and then we'll go back to season 2 eventually.
Yes.
But thank you so much for watching us. We really appreciate it. If you like us, like, subscribe. Remember, if we get to 100 subscribers and followers over all of our platforms, we will be doing Twilight. You will make us suffer. We will do it for you.
And if you all really want me to do a film over on Post Finale, let me know what that is, and I will plan for that as the 100 subscriber goal over on Post Finale. So
there
let
we
us
go.
know.
Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. We will see you next week for the Miserable Mill, part
Dun dun dun.
1.
Or aha! I don't know. I'm assuming things don't go well, but like maybe something happens.
Olaf is gonna show up and stuff's gonna happen.
Maybe the kids finally learn about the whole conspiracies.
Maybe the kids meet Olaf.
No, that can't happen for like another 10 books.
Or maybe the kids meet the parents, like the parents that are flying on the plane. I assume they crashed somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of Flip the Scripts. Flip the Scripts is created, hosted, and produced by Ankit Madhira and Stephen Nieman. Our editor is Sebastian Holich. The art is by Kshitija Madhira, and the music is by Sebastian Holich. If you like the video, you can click to listen to the next part, or if it's not out yet, you can find one of our previous episodes.
Or if you want to check out some of our other content, here's a fun video from another one of our shows.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, comment, and hit that bell icon to get notified of all of our content when it releases.
Subscribe to our Patreon if you want bonus content.
Links to all of our social media and Patreon are in the episode description down below.
Thank you for supporting our content. Come back next week for more shenanigans from Co-op Forge.
New episodes for Flip the Scripts release every Friday, Seattle Across the Pond every other Thursday, and Post Finale every Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye now.